Welcome to the Vicis Interimo 30 Minutes to Kill podcast.
You are listening to the Vicis Interimo show, 30 Minutes to Kill. More or less. The incredible podcast with the unpronounceable name. We are a horror entertainment podcast featuring mostly spoiler-free discussions of horror, suspense and psychological thrillers. I am your horror host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, here with my lovely wife Lori. The show is usually broken up into 4 parts. Laid to Rest, where we tie up loose ends from earlier shows. Followed by our featured movie review. Garbage in Garbage Out, is where we talk about anything we have watched, seen online or even read since the last show. Lastly, we always try to end the show with a crawling chaos. A topic or factoid we have never talked about on the show before. Sometimes silly, sometimes serious, but always chaotic.
You are listening to the Vicis Interimo show, 30 Minutes to Kill, more or less. We're a horror movie review podcast featuring horror, suspense, and psychological thrillers. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic, and just about anywhere. Just type in VICIS INTERIMO. I am your host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hello.
Our show generally has 4 segments: Laid to Rest, where we tie up loose ends from previous shows. A short review of our featured movie. This week's movie is Mom and Dad. We then have Garbage In, Garbage Out, where we talk about any TV shows, movies, anything, books, anything we may have read over the last week or so. And we end with a crawling chaos, a topic or factoid we've never talked about on the show before, unless we mentioned it last episode. Sometimes silly, sometimes serious, most always chaotic.
Unless we mentioned it last episode.
Well, I guess I brought it up and I was going to clear up or finish something from the...
No, you have something entirely brand new to share with us. It's only loosely related to the last one.
Loosely related to the last one?
Crawling Chaos is always something we've never talked about before.
All right, then. Well,
I don't think we've ever talked about what you're going to talk about.
I think we have, because I think it goes all the way back to, like, episode 9, maybe, or something.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe with the Good Sisters, when we talked about witches. It's a favorite topic of mine. And, well, anyhow, that's not what we're here to talk about right now. Right now, we want to lay to rest some things from the Vatican tapes in episode 362.
Okay. Was episode 9 really the Good Sisters?
No, I don't think so. I think it was maybe a little bit later on than that.
Boy, that was a rough episode.
No, that was an awesome episode.
If you say so.
Just like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for Laid to Rest, last show that we did was the Vatican tapes. Mm-hmm. And we talked, I guess, here's my first mistake, was calling it, what do I call it, The Vampire's Apprentice?
Yes.
Instead of The Vampire's Assistant.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's one thing.
But you're not saying what you're talking about, though.
What?
Okay. Nothing.
Okay. I said this was Laid to Rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last episode, I mistakenly called The Vampire's Apprentice. The Vampire's Apprentice is what I called it, and it was actually the Vampire's Assistant.
Yeah, you got it. And I actually had something to say about that also.
Okay.
This was, of course, we had watched the movie Cirque du Freaks, The Vampire's Assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay, and I had mentioned something about where I said I could tell it was taken from a novel and there was something missing, or maybe they were trying to squash
or
more
a series
than one.
Of books, yeah.
Yes. Well, I looked it up and I found out what's going on with that.
Okay, what's that?
So the whole mess is called The Saga of Darren Shan.
The whole mess? What the
whole
heck?
mess.
Okay.
No, meant fondly. I'm
All
not
right.
saying it was a mess.
Okay.
There's 12 books in the series.
Oh, wow.
That's why I said the whole mess.
Okay.
It all falls under the Saga of Darren Shan. There's 12 books, 4 trilogies, actually.
Wow, okay.
Yes. So this movie, Cirque du Freak's Vampire's Assistant, was actually the first and second books out of the first trilogy.
Oh.
The very first book in this whole series of 12 is Cirque du Freaks.
Okay.
And then book number 2 is The Vampire's Assistant.
Okay.
So there we go.
Okay, so they just kind of mashed them together, and that's why it
They could certainly make a whole lot more movies. I don't know how this one did, though.
Probably not too well. I think it might have been a bit much for folks, or maybe didn't have a wide enough.
The problem a lot of these movies have is unless you're a fan of the books, you're not going to care too much for it. So
Okay.
you can't do a whole series of movies just for fans of a book.
Okay, I got
Unless it's Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, then,
But
Then
you can bring more people into it. All right.
I think the hope with these is that it'll have such a broad appeal, so many people will like them that it doesn't matter, but
Okay.
I guess that didn't happen.
I see. Well, so there's that. And then to answer your question, it was episode 18.
Okay.
That was the Good Sisters. That was it. What else did I have to say here? I had mentioned, and I said it during the episode, but then I stumbled over it and didn't go back or didn't clarify it. What I'm talking about is the House of the Clock on the Walls.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mentioned the Hand of Glory, and then I promptly forgot that Hand of Glory was the magical item that I first learned about there. Though the Hand of Glory can be several different things.
Where?
I don't know, just collecting useless occult knowledge, I guess.
Okay.
But that was the first place I had heard about it, in reading that book. I don't know whether
Right.
it's junior high or what have you.
It's always a good magical item to throw in a movie.
Yeah, though it might be different things in different stories, but...
We mentioned that there's one in Harry Potter.
Right.
It grabs him and doesn't let him go.
Indeed. And so, with that, was there anything else? Did I want to talk about a patch of fog? No, that was for the other... That was a suggestion from Lonely Bob.
I have trouble remembering what all we did last week.
Well, that was it. I listed everything that we did.
Okay.
Or did I? Vatican tapes.
I was just going to say, wait a minute, you did?
Solo, Loving
Either I
Vincent.
dozed off, or...
Yeah. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Solo.
Yeah.
Loving Vincent.
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
All right, let's just move on.
Portions of this podcast are made possible through the patronage of great people like at Lonely Bob, Big Albie, and Goldafish. Since we are trying to grow our podcast in every way possible, even if you can't be a patron, you can still help us grow by liking, commenting, and subscribing to the podcast.
Can I go to a movie with Riley tonight?
With Riley?
Your grandparents are coming for dinner tonight, remember?
Awesome. Grandpa telling his disgusting Vietnam stories.
Take my advice, don't ever have kids.
Everything just revolves around you, doesn't it?
Yeah, whatever.
What is the rush today? It's like we're waiting for a buffet.
What's going on? Is that McKenna's mom?
Multiple reports are now coming in of parents murdering their own children.
Listen to me. We have to get out of the house before Mom and Dad come home. Dad?
You take your right foot out. You do the hokey pokey and you.
Yes, it's Mommy. Mommy's here. Are you two all right? We're not coming out, okay? You have to leave.
You're going to open this door! This is a really great idea, honey.
I forgot your parents.
That was tonight.
Mom and Dad. Very simple explanation for this movie, or rather a very simple synopsis,
Yes.
but that's okay.
I was going to say explanation.
Because that's all you need is a
Yes.
very basic, rudimentary knowledge of what this movie is, and just set back and let the whole thing gloriously wash over you.
Yes.
At least
Yes.
that's how I saw it. IMDb listed as 2017, and it's Mom and Dad, and it has Selma Blair and Nicolas Cage in it. And a teenage girl and her little brother must survive a wild 24 hours in which a mass hysteria of unknown origin, here we're back to our unknown origins,
Yeah.
cause parents to turn violently on their own kids.
Yes. Why did it specifically say 24 hours? That makes it sound like that's part of the story, and it's not.
Okay.
Survive 24 hours. What? And then you'll be fine after that?
Well,
No.
maybe. You could be good. You don't know. It's one of those movies that we don't want to give spoilers or whatever, but it does leave
It
you...
doesn't have. There's no time. That had nothing to do with anything.
No, you don't think if you got through the first day you could understand how to deal with and what to do?
Well, maybe not necessarily though.
Okay. Well, anyhow, all right.
It's just weird that they said that.
Okay,
They must
I got
survive 24 hours.
I gotcha. What?
Yeah, it's not like it's a game or something. Okay, 24 hours, go, survive.
It's not like The Purge.
That's
It's not like
what
you
it
get a
is.
single.
Yeah, so
Okay.
why'd they even say that?
Well, I told you they're awful synopses that I read.
Yeah,
from
that is an
IMDb.
awful one.
But it's awful good because
You said it's awful good.
well, I mean, it's straightforward and
Yes.
yes. Okay. Anyhow, what?
You had a good comment because you said it's more of this unknown origin, something crazy happened and everyone loses their mind.
Right.
That we've seen so many of those lately, and this is totally by accident.
Right.
But yeah, this would be a great one to watch with, like, when you sit down to watch Stephanie and Bird Box, throw in Mom and Dad. You could do a trilogy of people losing their mind, the movies, and
Oh man.
and Quiet Place.
Yeah. There you go.
Why not?
Indeed.
See which one you like best. Which one of those scenarios would you like to
Nothing
be thrown into?
Nothing top. Well, I would like Mom and Dad because as an orphan, I'm safe.
That's
Neener,
true.
neener, neener. I'd have to protect somebody else though. But anyhow.
Yeah,
Oh my
that
gosh.
is true.
So, how much do we want to talk about? And I mean, it's straightforward. We've told you pretty much everything except
Yeah.
I don't know how to clarify that this movie is awesome. It's now I've never laughed so hard during a
Me either.
horror.
Not even through any movie, I don't think.
I'm not sure that that's yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. Even
Not all of it was maybe appropriate. I mean, it was,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
why
wasn't.
It was so stinking funny.
It wasn't quite tongue in cheek. It wasn't presented that way. But however, when Nicolas Cage goes over the top with his whatever it might be, acting,
Yes.
man,
Yes.
he hit new heights or new lows or however.
He went nuts.
Gosh.
Crazy town Nicolas Cage.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's funny because I didn't take notes or anything because I wasn't sure if this was going to even fit into the horror.
It was, yeah.
You know, I wasn't sure if we were going to use this and talk about it in an episode.
How could we not? I think everybody needs to see this film.
Oh my gosh. Because, yeah, I like you said, you don't remember laughing that hard during any horror movie. Do you remember laughing that hard even during any comedy?
No, I don't think so.
I know. I could guarantee you I haven't, because I am a hard sell with comedy anyway. I don't. Maybe that's why I've not laughed too much during movies. I don't usually watch comedies, but it was just so funny. But it wasn't supposed to be. I mean, it was, but it's so not PC.
I was gonna, there you go.
And I'm wondering how many people were offended, or how many people think it is such a horrible idea that they don't even want to watch it because they couldn't imagine. Or, like, was it easy for you and I to watch it because we don't have children?
We are
you know
children, though, so I mean, we should be able to appreciate it on that level, if nothing else.
But I wondered, as I was watching it, some of the things I laughed at so hard, I thought, oh my gosh, if I were a mom, would I be laughing this hard? But I hope I would be.
That is interesting, because here's the thing now. I talked to my coworkers
Yes.
at work that were parents.
Right.
And I laid a portion of this movie out to them.
Okay.
They all, I don't want to say they were all interested in seeing it, but they all
I'm
laughed.
sure your manager would be interested. I think he'd really enjoy it.
My coworkers, my others, they agreed and understood and laughed at the irony in it.
Right.
Just from the get-go, without going deep into explanations and stuff. The horror element was not necessarily for them.
Right.
But explaining the premise, they rolled their eyes in understanding.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think the whole idea of it is, what parent at some time hasn't thought, man, I just want to kill my child.
Never intended to do it.
Right.
Never, yes.
Right. I think somebody took that idea and they just ran with it.
Well, man, they scored a touchdown for sure.
Yes, they did. I mean, the kids were appropriately annoying.
Right?
Disrespectful and eye-rolling and just, all the things I can't stand about teenagers. They made sure to get them all in there. So, it was just very entertaining.
Yeah.
It was so entertaining.
It's, yes, like, what can you say? Everything was perfect about this, I felt. Well, so, I mean,
agree.
we skip to the end and we say, for me, it's a 5.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I could recommend this, I think, to anybody.
Right.
I think, yeah, even parents, like, anybody that's willing to sit down and watch a horror movie, this is it. I don't know how it did. I never really look into how things perform or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know anybody else that's talked about it or seen this.
Me either.
And I think that's a crying shame. Because it sounds so generic. Mom and Dad.
Are you not supposed to... I mean, I don't know.
Are you not supposed to?
I was going to say, are you not supposed to talk about it? Is it like, I'm a mom and I saw this movie and it was hilarious, but I don't want to tell my friends because they'll think I'm terrible? No.
Maybe.
My parents.
Maybe.
No, I'm thinking like they don't want to share with their friends that, I
Yeah.
saw a movie where these people kill their children, or they're trying to kill their...
Not really a spoiler.
Did they kill their children?
Anyhow. But yeah.
You know what I mean? Is
It's
it just
so
like
inappropriate
is it a movie people watch and don't talk about because you're not supposed to think that's funny?
Maybe.
You know how sensitive everybody is now.
This is true. I got you.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I think,
hilarious.
needs to see it. And
It's so funny. It's satire. It's just...
Exactly. That's it. It's satire, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to, and like I said, or you said it actually, that it's like every parent at some point has thought, oh my gosh, I want to kill my kids. I can't believe what they did. I can't believe blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think every parent's had at least a time or two where they're just so angry.
Yeah.
Like, so angry at them. Yeah. And times where you don't like them very much.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I couldn't help it. I took a little peek just to see. And it says generally it was received positively by the critics.
Okay.
And has a approval rating of like 74% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever that's worth. But
74.
Gosh, it's so wickedly funny.
I thought it would be more like 94.
It should be. It absolutely should.
Interesting. I would like to read some reviews of people who hated it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't know what you could hate about it, except for the subject matter. If you're offended, fine. Yeah. But otherwise, super well done.
Yeah.
I loved the way it was filmed. All the acting was great.
Yeah. There was gore in there, but not over the top.
Right. Everything was appropriate and rated R, I guess.
Rated R, sure.
Language. There's language. Teenagers.
There's some boobs in there too, a little bit here and there, right in the title credits actually,
bit.
But not overly, not salacious.
No, it was in there for a reason.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
so
nothing was in there.
I can't help noticing, and I'm stealing this from Wikipedia or whatever, that John Waters thought it was one of number 4 in his personal best films for like 2018 or whatever. That was.
Oh, okay.
He really.
I wonder what his other ones were.
I'm curious now of that too, but that's another topic. So. I don't know, did we talk enough about it? We probably did. We just gushed about it and that's it. So
that's about it.
Just watch this movie. If you haven't seen it already,
see it.
Watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on then to garbage in, garbage out.
It's a 4.5 for me, by the way.
Okay.
I never asked.
I never asked. Really? Why didn't you get a 5? Because it wasn't perfect?
5 stars is reserved for something really special.
This was okay.
I've probably only given 3 or 4 movies 5 stars ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You started to talk about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Once Upon a Time.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that we had been watching. We've got several projects going on.
Wait, why are we going to talk about it now?
Because I shut you up from talking about it last week.
Oh.
But we're right there. We're almost at the end of season 6.
Right.
We did that about the time we got rid of TV or rid of the DVR. I don't know. We didn't catch that season. I think they did one more. You said it was a soft reboot of sorts that. The 7th season of it.
It came back with
it's
only
so
a couple
corny
of characters.
And ridiculous and bad, but it's like watching a soap opera.
Yeah, it's just really entertaining.
I want to call it. I want to call it like. Well, some people would hate me hearing me say that it's like Dark Shadows or whatever, but you know how Dark Shadows was a soap opera that had everything in it.
Right.
Well, they try to jam everything into these fairy tale stories and stuff like that.
Well, and
I think
for people who don't know, it's a Disney production,
right.
So they have every single Disney princess, character, villain, everything you could think of. Boy, they've thrown it in there.
They've tried to, and
that's what's fun.
Yeah, waiting to see who shows up as what and so on. Some of them I don't think got enough of a story. There's characters in there I'd like to have seen more about or whatever and stuff. But it's a tough one, and it also suffers from that comic book syndrome of, not being able to kill off a character.
Right.
Unlike shows, say, like The Walking Dead, where you have somebody you've invested your time and effort and energy and empathy in, and they get knocked off, and then they're gone, and they're not in the show anymore.
Well, they do that in this show, but in a different way.
Well, yes, but then they also come back. We've seen lots of characters.
Because I liked Balefire, and he's gone. He went down a portal, or down the toilet or something, and he's just gone. But yeah, I mean, it is very much.
There's a lot
very much kid friendly.
Very Disney,
they're
very
not
light.
Killing people. Yeah, I mean, a few people have died, but in a very gentle way.
That sounds horrible.
Very gently.
Well,
But yes, and they can always come back. Yes.
Most always they can come back.
Yes.
Yeah. Not always, but most always.
Balefire didn't come back.
So,
he's in movies.
do we talk about The Walking Dead? The end of season 9 or season 9 itself?
We could say we watched it.
We could say we watched it. We enjoyed it. Did any complaints? Any general?
Any complaints? Any complaints about what? The 10 people they offed all at once?
Yeah, there's that.
I have 3 complaints.
Yeah, 3 complaints, and they're all on a stick.
7 complaints. I definitely have 3.
Okay.
Let's move on.
All right, we'll move on then. Well, that's really all that I had to talk about then, except for the upcoming projects that we've got. I've been shooting some video at a local game store and stuff. That's for Magic the Gathering. I don't think anybody probably
What, pray tell, is Magic the Gathering?
It's nobody probably cares. It's a game that's been around for about 25 years now.
About it, so school us. Tell us
It's a game that's been around for about 25 years now. It's a card game where each person creates a deck of cards, or rather, puts together a deck of cards, and you're a wizard fighting another wizard, basically.
Okay, so would you agree that there's Pokemon, the trading card game, and then there's Yu-Gi-Oh! When you get a little older, and then you go on to Magic the Gathering?
No, Magic the Gathering is the first, the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's the it's the granddaddy of all all card games.
It's definitely the oldest. It's been around the longest.
It's been around probably the longest.
But yes, so if you've ever played Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, this is similar, but it's amped up.
Yes. So. Actually, you know what I might include in the show notes is the set for the latest one. At least because they did a great job with a Linkin Park song, and in the latest, because another set's coming out. I think whatever, those print sets every 2 weeks, it seems like.
Okay, would they use a link for the promo or something?
Yeah, for the promo of the next.
Okay. You can't put. Oh, yeah, you could put a link or something.
Yeah, I'll put a link to there.
Don't put it in this because then we'll get copyright infringement.
Booted off of YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, get the smackdown.
All right. Anyhow, my point was, I'm shooting some video for that, so I've been doing that a lot of it. That's taking up some of my time.
Yeah.
We did the 7 days of headshots and stuff. I don't know. Those were.
How'd that go for you?
I don't know. I enjoyed them, and folks seemed to like them. Only Bob gave me the suggestion, and actually his discussion sparked the short topic that may or may not have aired by now about forgotten 90s TV shows.
Right. And somebody this week downloaded 100 episodes of ours, so, thank you for that. Maybe that's somebody new who's joined us.
Maybe so.
So there has been some new people recently, so welcome.
Indeed.
Thank you for listening.
The other thing that I want to talk about is the show for the Das Boot.
Okay.
Both, Well, just the fact that it's not forgotten.
No.
I want to tie it in with the dyslexia and the inability to speak. The dyslexia portion. Inability, yes, that's it.
Oh, dear.
So, that's taking a little bit of work, so that project is still happening.
That's going to be quite a bit down the road because you want to do a good job with it.
I want to do an exceptional job with it for Professor Lee and, for anybody that's interested. I do want to take the show in a couple of different directions over this next year, so we'll see how that goes. And let us know what you're thinking with the content. Any complaints, anything, just let us know. You can do that on Facebook. You can find us in our group, our Facebook group. I will only plug the group at this point. But before we get to that, I will continue on and we'll go into the crawling chaos. So for Crawling Chaos, I had talked...
Wait. First, what did we do last week?
You did the thing on mold. And, that was freaking disgusting.
But basically the article was, should you eat the part of the bread that doesn't have the mold on it?
Yes.
If you have a loaf of bread and there's a little bit of mold, should you eat the clean parts?
Yeah. Well,
the answer is no. Because mold has roots.
You pretty clearly defined for me that no, avoid all mold.
Yes.
Not looking for upping my penicillin by eating.
Not a good idea. So that brought up this topic that you would like to discuss.
Of the Salem witch trials, and were they caused by moldy grain? Well, I don't have a lot to discuss about that. Just the fact that part of the reasons that they're speculating now, and there's probably a video you can see like this or whatever, or I will, in Country Living, I found a good article that talks about that. And you got to imagine if you were living in the, living in those times, that if your body didn't behave the way that it was supposed to, if you started getting muscle spasms and stuff and not understanding how those might be caused. You're going to think
you're possessed or something.
Exactly. If you start having hallucinations, if you start suffering delusions like that, and there's no obvious cause for it, witchcraft is the easy explanation.
Yes.
Of course, now I'm thinking of Monty Python, but that's something else for... She's a witch because she floats. Never mind. So the speculation has become the fact that that this was actually caused by that, the grain.
Well, think how hard it was to store all of that stuff and keep moisture out of it.
Exactly. So there's a type of stuff that attacks the rye, and it has like...
Not the rye.
Yeah. It gives like an LSD-like substance is derived from it. And that. So I'll post a link to that. So that was whatever. That was something that, that we thought was interesting.
The grains, now that you're talking about that, not too long ago, I read an article. Actually, I looked it up first because when I make rice, I make extra because I do casseroles or I do chicken and whatever, something to pour over rice or whatever.
Right.
I make a lot of rice at once, partly because I can't figure out how to make only just how much I need. I'm never sure.
Okay.
So, you put the remainder in a Tupperware, you pop it in the fridge, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, 2 days later, you might pull it out. 5 days later, you might pull it out. If you pull it out 5 days later, I was thinking, how long is too long to keep rice in the fridge? Why are you laughing?
I don't know.
So I went online and I did an internet search.
Okay.
I did because I don't want to poison us.
Thanks.
So
good looking out.
It is.
Yay, Tom.
Yeah. So anyway, when I looked on there was a lot of different opinions, but pretty much everyone agreed you shouldn't keep it more than just a couple of days or a few days. Because there's something in rice. There's a fungus in rice just naturally in there. And you put it in your fridge and you leave it a week, it's going to grow.
Oh.
So rice is kind of a dodgy thing. You shouldn't keep it in the fridge. Cooked rice, you should not keep it in the fridge for very long.
Okay.
So your topic there made me think of that.
Okay, well, I'm thinking that we're also becoming like a help channel. In addition to podcasting about horror movies.
Crawling Chaos segment.
That's right.
Topic or factoid.
Anything that you want there.
Sometimes it's just a straight up public service announcement. Sometimes it's, I saw a cute animal online. You have to go look at it. You just never know. Indeed.
Well, as always, thank you to those of you that stuck around to the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can...
There's a few left.
There's a few, yeah. I hope so, anyhow. You can find us on Stitcher's Podomatic, all those places, Spotify even.
Yeah. Only if you spell it right, though.
Only if you spell it right. I think we killed it.
I think so.
All right.
I remember when you wrote... Stopify.
Stopify? Yeah. That's okay. I was going to harass you this time about what infiltrating was.
Infiltrate. Oh. What was that from?
I don't know. You wrote something
now.
about infiltrating.
Oh, yeah, I just wrote it that way. I don't know. I think I was tired. It was supposed to be infiltrating.
I figured as much.
Infiltrating. I don't know. It happens.